good morning. Hey now, PSW staff, clients, and friends joining us. Welcome to Wednesday's class. We're halfway through the week, and so far it's been almost too much fun. We looked at the great Henry Mancini yesterday and how he was very famous and clever for blending classical, pop, jazz, rock elements for film and television music in the 1960s. And then the day before, we looked at the film scoring assignment for The Right Stuff, and that's going to be fun. We're going to see that on Friday. So I thought we'd take it a little easy today. I'd like to hang out a little bit in the city you love, I love, John loves, Bonnie loves, and just take a little tour over maybe an important place that we haven't talked about at all. That's sitting right there in downtown LA, just waiting for people to come. Today we'll be talking about the very beautiful Music Center. Music Center's in downtown LA. It's one of the largest performing arts centers in the United States. So isn't that cool? Right in our backyard, LA has one of the largest places for art, for plays, operas, musicals, symphonies. I mean, everything. It's right there. And it's a real favorite of mine. I have fond memories of going there as a kid, and still go there too. It's beautiful. We're going to talk about the architecture. We're going to talk about a lady in particular who was super important and so influential to our city that should really get a little shout out, because she helped bring the arts to LA in a way that was pretty revolutionary for a female. We'll talk about the building, the architect. I mean, it's going to be so much fun. I mean, it's just maybe we shouldn't even do it. It's going to be that much fun. Okay, a little silly today, I guess, but that's okay. All right, so let's get into the Music Center. So Music Center has several buildings, okay? You got Dorothy Chandler building, which holds about 4,000 people. Mark Taper Forum, about less than 1,000 people. The Amundsen Theater, about 2,000 people. Walt Disney Concert Hall, which is the newest edition, that holds about 2,000 people, 2,000 to 3,000 people. And then Cal Arts Theater, the Red Cat, which about 260, the capacity for that. And they all have different functions. I mean, Mark Taper is kind of more for plays. This is generally speaking. Mark Taper is more for plays. Dorothy Chandler could be for operas and also plays. And the Amundsen is same plays, operas. Disney Hall is the home to the LA Philharmonic, so they do mostly classical concerts. And Red Cat is more groundbreaking, avant-garde things that pieces that involve multimedia, dance, and music projects. So really everything's fitting under that umbrella right on First Street. So not right in the heart of downtown. So the Dorothy Chandler's the first to open in 1964. 1964 is a year that we've talked about a lot, and most importantly, it's a year the Civil Rights Act was signed into law by Lyndon B. Johnson, which was tremendous for black people. About 9 years prior to that, we have this lady, Dorothy Chandler. And we talked about the Chandler family a week ago or 2 weeks ago when we talked about the Hollywood sign. We talked about how Harry Chandler that was his idea, and it was to advertise real estate, really. And it wasn't supposed to be there for more than a year and a half, but of course it came to symbolize and revolutionize the film business, the real estate business, people living there. It became such an icon, and they decided to leave it up. LA, Hollywood Council, all these people decided to leave it up. So this is his daughter-in-law, okay? So Harry's son is Norman Chandler. Norman took over the Times, and Norman met Dorothy at like a dance hall. Dorothy was this very kind of outspoken, went to Long Beach High School and then Stanford, and was a really strong woman in the sense that she really spoke up for what she believed in, and perhaps used the influence and power of the Chandler name to put forward the arts and to make our city great. Like we talked about, the Chandlers did a lot of great things. I'm sure there was a lot of bad things that aren't publicized, but she did some wonderful things. And what she did was she started a fundraising campaign for a permanent home for the Philharmonic. Okay, so before this, L.A. Philharmonic, which is the L.A. Orchestra, our home orchestra, didn't have a home. You know, they played in different venues, and we did do a class a long time ago when the L.A. Phil first started in 1919, and where they played. But that was just, you know, it's like musicians playing a gig at a place, and then you go on to play another gig. I mean, they were kind of wandering around, but she wanted to give them a home. So it started with a fundraising to give the LA Philharmonic a home, and she raised almost $20 million just in private donations. $20 million back in the 60s is a lot of money. It's a lot of money today. And the county provided the site and raised the remaining $14 million using mortgage revenue bonds. And Welton Beckett is an architect we've talked about, and he designs this. And of course, we know him from the Capitol Records building in 1956 that we looked at. Kind of mid-century, I guess, architecture. And also the Cinerama Dome we did a class on. He designed that in 1963. So Welton Beckett, brilliant architect. And then in 2003, we get Disney Hall, which is, of course, the very famous Frank Gehry architect, who supposedly is going to build a building for the in Inglewood, very close to our school. And I hope those plans have just only been stalled because of COVID. I hope that I feel like they're still moving forward with that. So just going back to Dorothy Buffum Chandler, her middle name is Buffum, actually. That's an inside joke for all of us. They called her Buff. And she was really savvy in getting people to, obviously her family had a lot of money, but I guess you don't want to use your own money for things. Very savvy at getting fundraising. And so in 1955, so this is 9 years before, it opens, she raised $400,000 at a benefit concert at the Ambassador Hotel, where we looked at a few weeks ago. See, so I'm trying to make all these LA connections for you, so I'm not just kind of randomly throwing buildings out. Fundraiser at the Ambassador, where Danny Kaye performed, Dinah Shore, Jack Benny, and this fundraiser began a 9-year crusade. Okay, so 9 years to get the $20 million of the estimated $35 million total cost. So it goes to show you too. It takes time. You can't just build a building. So 9 years to raise all this money, and the rest was through private bond sales. And she also sought out sums for the old establishments, for the old money for people in Pasadena. And also, a lot of the new money sources of hers came from West Side and Hollywood, and many of them were Jewish people. Before the Music Center, Jews weren't part of the social life of the community. Again, this is so much segregation. We talked about blacks weren't involved and allowed. Jews also were a minority too, in the sense of. So, I mean, she actually went and raised money and allowed and more inclusive. I mean, I guess it always helps if you have money. If you have money, you're kind of accepted anywhere. But I mean, also, Jews were a minority still. And she was very much responsible for opening the community in terms of Jews and Gentiles and blacks and, to experience all this wonderful music, these plays. Neil Simon premiered a bunch of plays there. Zubin Mehta was the first conductor there, and still a living legend. I mean, the list goes on where there's just too many people that have performed there. Many Academy Awards ceremonies were performed there for years, or held there for years. Academy Awards. So many beautiful things were there. I have great memories going to see the Nutcracker there as a kid. The music center is wonderful, and you can just go and walk around and see the fountains and see the beautiful buildings, and you can see a great view of City Hall and Grand Park, and you can just walk around and then go to lunch at Grand Central Market for something cheap, and enjoy that part of downtown. When we get back to Norman, we'll be able to do that. So that's a little thing on the music center, and yeah, another cool little gym in our city. So thanks for watching. Love you guys. Miss you. Let's do something fun tomorrow. Okay. I got something in the works. So okay. Have a great rest of the day. Bye.